This coming week, from August the 23rd to August the 29th, is going to ask you not to explain yourself, not to defend, and not to perform. The image that came to mind was one of a river and how rivers tend to follow the path of least resistance on their way down to the oceans and, to the sea. They meander. No river follows a straight path. And this is the intelligence that the sky is reflecting this coming week. Remember, a river, when she or he meanders the river down to the sea, the river does not stop to ask the trees if the river can change direction. It doesn't ask for permission. The river doesn't ask the wolves for permission. The river doesn't try to defend themselves. And so this is the image that I want you to carry forward into this week. Okay, so we begin with the Sun in Virgo, trine Chiron in Taurus. And this is a beautiful, harmonious aspect, the trine. Now, the Sun only moves into Virgo tomorrow, August the 23rd. So if you are watching this on Saturday, the 22nd of August, know that the Sun is not yet in Virgo. He enters Virgo tomorrow around 10 a.m. Pacific time. And when he does so, he's going to be in this beautiful trine. Then later on in this week, we have Mercury standing across from the North Node. And what this is going to do is that it's going to help us perceive an old conversation or understand an old conversation in a new way. And we're then going to close the week with the Sun and Mercury walking arm in arm through Virgo, which means that mind and self are finally saying the same thing at the same time and are, there's understanding. And of course, on the 27th, smack bang in the middle of the week, is the partial lunar eclipse. Well, not really in the middle of the week if you are not here in the Pacific Northwest. So it's the 27th here in the Pacific Northwest. The lunar eclipse occurs around 9:12 p.m. And of course, elsewhere, you're going to experience, if you're in Europe, Africa, Asia, I think it's the 28th that you're going to experience. Asia, I'm not too sure, but I think it's on the 28th. Okay, so let us walk through the astrology day by day. So August 23rd, tomorrow, Sunday, Sun is going to be trine Chiron. And really the best way to interpret this is that your healing is going to happen outdoors. Yeah, we have the Sun in Virgo, which is an earth sign, trine Chiron in Taurus, which is also an earth sign, and Taurus is all about gardens and parks, and Virgo is very much about nature, just being out in nature and healing through nature or healing with nature. Nature, we are one with nature. So nature is this expansive term. But anyway, whenever I see this particular combination or this aspect, this trine, Sun Chiron, Moon Chiron, I immediately think of trees. So I urge you to go and spend some time outside, green space, preferably near trees. If there aren't any trees, then definitely a meadow, some green rolling hill, something like that. Earth, you want to get outside, you want to put your feet in the earth, on the grass. You want to be rolling around in the grass. You want to be touching the soil. You want to be with the bees and the flowers. Okay, so this is how you are going to find healing in every sense, right? The body contacting the mother, right? Our Mother Earth. Now, the other energy that is being invoked here when you have the Sun in Virgo, because what happens when planets move into Virgo, there's this tendency to become more critical of ourselves, but also at the same time, the good thing is more discerning about what we're choosing to do and who we are allowing into our space. Now, what happens here is I always think of the difference between reaction and response because, Chiron is the wounded healer. Now, very important to know because Mars is traveling through Cancer as well. And I know that Mars is just part of this larger picture. He's not actually ruling anything. He is not ruling Virgo. He doesn't rule Virgo and he doesn't rule Taurus. Venus is ruling Taurus and Mercury is ruling Virgo here. But anyway, I do want to mention Mars here because in Cancer, he's extremely defensive, passive aggressive. And is feeling a lot. The moon is also out of bounds still at this point. The moon is out of bounds this weekend. She will be in bounds on the 24th on Monday. Now, what does this mean? It means that you have probably been extremely or extra sensitive or feeling more emotional than usual. It can also mean that you've been highly intuitive and psychic, so you've been able to glean bits of important information without, you've just been witchier than ever, right? You're without much facts. You haven't been relying on facts and figures. This is now going to change though, because Sun moves into Virgo, and Virgo is very much about facts and figures and proving things, having the receipts. And then the moon goes inbound. So she's returning to her normal level of whatever you would call normal. Of course, if you have a water moon, like, a Pisces moon, a Cancer moon, Scorpio moon, then you have elevated sensitivity. But anyway, when she's inbound, you return to that so-called normal level of sensitivity. Now, but anyway, back to what is the difference between a reaction to a message, for example, a reaction to a conversation or someone's words, someone says something. And what is the difference between reaction and response? There is a difference, believe it or not. So when someone says, how do you react? They're invoking Mars. Reaction, act is Mars, response is Venus. And Venus is exalted at the moment in Libra. So what is the difference? A reaction is a message from the past. Whenever you are reacting, you are acting from old material. You are reacting from a nervous system pattern, a childhood pattern, a story that has never really been resolved. That is why you're reacting. When you react immediately, violently, vehemently, forcefully, okay, that is reaction and it is stuck in the past. You have not resolved something, right? When you respond, you are actually in the present moment. You have this capacity to meet what's actually here, whatever's come out, whatever words have been thrown your way, pearls of wisdom or not, toads, whatever's been thrown in your direction or put before you for reflection. Responsiveness puts you in that presence, puts you in the present moment, and it asks you to listen before you speak or before you react. Okay, so I want you to be aware of that this weekend. Okay, where are you reacting instead of responding? The other thing that Chiron is teaching you when he is in this beautiful trine with the sun in Virgo, I love this energy if you haven't picked up on it already. I love this energy. Um, it's the lesson is to heal through serving. If you're feeling down, if you're feeling alone, if you're feeling misunderstood, if you're feeling like nothing's working out for you, put yourself out there in service. Try to be of service to someone or an animal perhaps. Try to help where you can. Try to, if there's no other being that you can assist at this time, then put yourself in service of Mother Nature, but put yourself out there, volunteer, Go seek opportunities to be of service. Right. Okay. So, as I said, just a quick reminder, August 24th, which is Monday, the moon is inbound. So you'll go back to your normal level of emotion or sensitivity, whatever that may look like to you. August 25th, Mercury opposite the North Node. Well, when Mercury moves opposite the North Node on Wednesday, is it Wednesday? 23rd, 24th, no, Tuesday. So Mercury opposite the North Node on Tuesday. I want you to think back to March the 20th of this year. What what conversation was coming up, or what judgment were you forming then? What judgment did you form then about a person or an organization, or something? What opinion did you form there? Because what's happening is this is now about contrast. Now Mercury is in opposition to the node, and in March the Mercury was conjunct. So these two points of view now come across differently. You now have this, you've either softened your attitude towards a person or an organization or a belief system, and now you have this new perspective. You've changed your mind. That's basically it. Okay. The same day, on the 24th, Mercury, and I've got the right date, I hope. Yes, on the 25th, I think. Yes, the 25th. The 25th, not the 24th. The 25th, Mercury moves into Virgo, and he's very happy in Virgo. Okay. Virgo is his home sign. And so something clarifies, something comes out more clearly. Your words are going to flow more easily. I'm really looking forward to this transit. Writing stops feeling like wading through mud. So if you've been putting off writing something, starting a book or writing an essay or an article, or you want to start writing possibly a difficult email or a proposal, or you want to have this conversation finally with someone, then yeah, wait until the 25th, because this is Mercury speaks with precision, and also very clear with clarity. Okay. August the 27th. Okay. We have a lunar eclipse on the 27th. I'm going to call up the chart now. It's a partial lunar eclipse, is also a full moon at 4 degrees of Pisces. So let me call up the chart. Okay, so what you're going to see is, and I found this very interesting. Well, the first thing that stands out is that the sun in Virgo is going to be conjunct Mercury. So this immediately tells us that a message is coming through this week. Now, do remember that eclipses are in effect 2 weeks before the actual eclipse, and 2 weeks after the eclipse. So some important message, and you want to look at your Virgo house and your Pisces house to have some, an idea of what this message is going to look like if you haven't received, or if you don't know what I'm talking about here. It is definitely a surprising message, possibly, and with Uranus, because it's square, the sun is in a square to Uranus, and the moon is also square to Uranus. Now, what this means is that this message is going to be disruptive in some way. It's going to change those areas of your life, right? So you want to look at your house, your Pisces house, your Virgo house. And if you're wanting more on this, do remember that I have a video just on these eclipses. So you want to go check out that video. So the potential of this message being disruptive to your day-to-day, your daily routine is very high. People who are most impacted by this lunation, this eclipse, are going to be people who have planets at 4 degrees, near 4 degrees. Like, I work with a very tight orb with eclipses, as I've said many times now. I work with a 1 degree orb. But I do know most astrologers say work with 3 degrees. I even know astrologers who work with like up to 10 degrees. But really, in my experience, it seems to only impact people who with a 1 degree. So in other words, if you have 3 degrees or 4 degrees of any sign, or even 5 degrees of any sign, this lunar eclipse is going to impact you, not necessarily in a bad way. This is Uranus energy that it's touching as well. And Uranus is unpredictable. Sometimes it brings this wonderful surprise. I mean, lottery wins kind of thing, right? It really depends. So I want you to keep that in mind. However, there is definitely a message of some sort, right? And the reason I know this as well is because, as you know, the South Node is part of this eclipse, obviously. And Hekate, the asteroid Hekate, which, named after the goddess Hekate, is conjunct the South Node. And Hekate, you may know, is the goddess associated with the crossroads and liminal spaces. And her symbols that are associated with Hecate include keys and dogs, and of course crossroads, right? Now, excuse me. Now, I've been dreaming of dogs for the last 2 weeks. So if you are a dog owner, it may very well be that this lunation has something to do with your dogs, possibly even cats. But anyway, Hecate is very much associated with dogs. You may get a dog, right? You may receive a message. You may receive a message that you may go pick up your puppy or something like that. Or it could be that your dog, moves on at this time. Let's pray that it's not the case, but it may be that. Okay. Again, as I've said, the eclipse effect is in play 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after the eclipse. Now, what is very interesting here in a magical level or a magical perspective, yes, Hecate is named after the Egyptian word because Hecate, of course, the Greeks took her from an old Egyptian goddess. This is how it works. It all eventually goes down to the old gods. But anyway, they got Hecate from the name Heka, the Egyptian word for magical words, right? Words are powerful. So, do you see why I'm saying to you that around the 27th of August, your words carry weight? Your words open doors. Your words change the direction of your life. Really, this is what this whole donation is about. So you want to reflect back on how you've been using your words over the last 2 weeks. And I know many of us will be doing a lot of reflection on how we've chosen to show up online, the words we've chosen to judge, to discriminate, however you wish to put it. The way we speak to others in our space, the way we speak to those we love about, all the words are going to come back to either unlock beauty and beautiful opportunities and growth, or unfortunately close the way for us, and we have to find a new way, a new path. Okay, so that is really the whole essence of this lunar eclipse. Okay, the next day, the 28th of August, the sun squares Uranus and Neptune trines Pluto, and we have the sun in Virgo squaring Uranus in Gemini, which means there's some conflict in, again, possible conflict in words and how you want to be cautious. You want to be sure that you have the receipts literally backing you up. You want to make sure that everything is adding up, like before you present something, a proposal, or you go sit with your accountant, you want to make sure that all of that is in order. And the same day, Neptune is trine Pluto, and this is a beautiful creative energy. You really have the potential on this day to create something powerful out of your imagination. Okay. And then Saturday, the 29th, we have Jupiter trine Saturn, and this is just going to be magnificent. The work, the hard work you've been putting in, you're going to see the results. This is a wonderful, cooperative trine between the two teachers, the two great mentors of, the teachers and the mentors in our zodiac. They are saying, well done for a job, to something you've done. They're saying, well done, here is your rewards. So do come back to this video throughout the week and see where you're at. And please do leave a comment. And if you find my videos helpful, do know that hitting that subscribe button really helps this channel, and hitting the like and also sharing this content really helps this channel grow. And I am so appreciative of you all. I'm so glad you're here. So just a quick reminder, this week isn't it's not random weather, it's training. It's basically teaching you or setting up a lesson before the eclipse. And this lesson is before you are surprised by whatever happened. It possibly already happened. Something might have already happened because eclipse, weather is in effect before the actual eclipse. But if something does actually happen on the 27th or the 28th, the day of the eclipse, depending on where you live, there's this training happening before the event. It's like there's this training ground, and it's the universe is saying, yeah, I'm teaching you how to handle it. I want you to stand on steady ground. I want you to be steady. I want you to feel grounded, so that you're not swallowed up or you don't fall apart or something like that when actually the eclipse happens. This is not going to impact everyone, so please, I don't want you to feel too concerned about this. It will impact you if you are, if you have planets in a very tight orb, very close to 4 degrees of Pisces or Virgo. Right. So remember this week that you're going to heal through serving, and it may be asking you to choose a path that is different, right? That is different, and that you do not have to ask for permission to do your thing. Thank you again for being here. I'd love to hear which day is meeting you where you are, what is resonating with you here. And if you want to take a deeper look at your chart, do remember that I offer private readings, and the link to my readings is in the description box. I will see you in the next video.